Okay guys, so we're trying something new with Borak Bursa now. This is Borak Bursa Turbo, where we talk about just very recent news, very hot stuff that happened just in the last 1 or 2 weeks, okay? As usual, my name is Chuck. I represent the everyday investor, and this is Alvin, who usually hosts Borak Bursa, but for Turbo, let's try something different now, okay? So Alvin, we have 3 topics to talk about today, okay? Really quickly. First one is Bank Negara reduced its OPR from 3% to 2.75%.
Yes.
Okay, so let's take it apart. What is an OPR?
Overnight policy rate.
Oh, that's what it stands for.
Yes.
So what does it do?
So basically, it becomes kind of the benchmark of what banks borrow, right?
Okay.
Right? And essentially sets interest rates for interest rate products.
So when Bank Negara Malaysia sets this, what compulsion do banks have to follow this?
Well,
is it legal?
Well, it's not legal, but everyone needs to kind of toe the line. They are pretty much anyone with, okay, so if you have a variable rate loan, right? So you can have a fixed rate loan or variable rate loan. If it's fixed rate, you can't change anything. But for variable, you have to drop your numbers.
Okay.
You have to reduce that interest rate.
Right.
Otherwise, because this is a monetary policy tool, right? So how Bank Negara, because Bank Negara has 2 very major mandates, right? To keep inflation in check, and to make sure that interest rates is supportive of growth of the economy.
Okay.
So what happens is that when you reduce interest rates, essentially you get more money or more liquidity in the hands of more people. Lower interest rates, the idea is to help spur investments, because then putting money in your fixed deposit is less attractive. And the idea is to I would say not persuade, but to invoke or maybe encourage people to, if you get a very low interest rates, you must want to invest the money, right? And if you look at the core definition of GDP, gross domestic product, is I is a big part of it. I is your investment, right? So government spending, investments, consumer, right, and of course import and exports. So the idea is because of the potential tariff, right? It's gone. We've gone from 24 to 25 if we don't strike a deal by 1st of August with the US, and because we do export quite a bit to the US, which means that we get income from the US, because we have a net surplus when we trade with the US. That means we sell more to them than we buy from them.
That's what Donald Trump's pissed about.
That's what he's angry about. To reduce that, so if you have any variable loan, so if you're a business, for example, and you have a variable loan rate, the lower the interest goes, the less you pay, the more money you have in your hands. Technically, that's the idea.
So in broad terms, if we're getting less money from the US, essentially what Bank Negara is doing is lowering interest rates, so more liquidity floods into the market, thus creating more money for people to spend for businesses and
consumer right? So there's the consumer spending or consumption essentially right?
Okay, so we've talked about the how, we've talked about the why. What about the effect? What is this likely to do to the everyday consumer in the next 1 year? I believe they said that most analysts say that this will hold steady at least for until 2026, right? So
I think so. If you look at in Malaysia's case, for example, so directly, if you're a consumer and you're the average guy with a home loan, maybe some other loans, right? So your home loan will be directly affected if you're a homeowner. So instead of say paying 1,000 ringgit for your repayment, now the interest portion has come down, right? So you actually can pay less. So you got 900 ringgit or 950.
Which is another 100 ringgit to spend at McDonald's or
so that $50, but it has a multiplier effect, right? Of course, the idea is if you keep interest rates too low, then potentially that might lead to inflation, right?
Because everyone has more money to spend, and then thus the market will say, hey, everyone's spending more, so let's raise our prices.
A bit like what happened in COVID. During COVID, where interest rates were super low, not just locally, but abroad as well. US was 0, right? And when you can borrow for very, very low interest rates, right, it spurs investments, right? Or you spur investments potentially into wrong places that may not need, right? So you don't get effective, allocation of capital.
So in the long lens of time, how high or low is this 2.75%? Like, is this considered very low averagely or very high averagely?
I think historically the lowest we've ever been was 1.5 to 1.75. So that's the lowest we've ever been in the last 20-30 years, right?
The highest we've ever been?
Oh, that's a good question. Highest we've ever been was 1997.
Oh, the financial crisis.
Before the financial crisis, we were, I think, 8 or 9%. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because the time, massive amount of inflows, and so they were trying to reduce liquidity. So if you could get fixed deposit for 8% or 9%. It was crazy, right? But
everybody want to put into fixed deposit already at that point in time.
Well, they are trying to discourage overheating, but then everyone was not putting money in fixed deposit. They were buying stocks instead. In 96, 97, right? So there was a bubble, right? So that was probably the highest that we've seen.
Speaking of which, how is Bursa reacting to this news? Like, how are the markets right now?
I think probably less related to Bursa or stocks at the moment, because right now the sentiment is wait and see. So when you talk to business owners that does exports, they're like, let's see what happens to the tariff, because the whole formula of how I've been doing business has been flipped upside down. So I think the sentiment is wait and see, not do anything. And therefore, Bank Negara has actually reduced interest rates because it's a preemptive measure, right? Because when everyone starts delaying their spending, you're definitely going to see a slowdown.
Right. So because everyone's wait and see, because everyone's holding on a lot to their cash, what BNM is doing is reducing OPR to release a little bit more cash into the system, so people continue fairly similar spending patterns.
That's what they hope to achieve, right? But I think we'll probably need. I mean, it's a good preemptive move, right? But if you really want to kind of provide it as a catalyst, like you would see a much bigger catalyst on a bigger magnitude,
What do you mean by a much bigger catalyst? As in like a war or something?
No. Well, if if they drop it to 1.5%, it's going to be a huge catalyst, right?
Right.
But 25 basis points, I think it's okay. I don't think it's earth shattering, but
it's a prudent move.
Yeah, it's a prudent move. It's preemptive,
Yep. Just to give us a little bit of a buffer.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So next news. One thing dropped and the other one went up really, really high. So Bitcoin, I think, was hovering at 108 for a very, very long time, and then suddenly it goes up to 123,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. Among other things, Bitcoin ETFs are raking in $14.8 billion. So let's talk a bit about this. First of all, this didn't seem to correlate to any news. Like, usually, like, when you see market movements and stuff like that, like with stocks, they tend to correlate to something, like a war, or maybe like federal cuts OPR or whatever it is, right? But with this, what was the catalyst here?
I think, so it was kind of a preemptive kind of move, because I think one of the most significant events maybe in the history of crypto is actually recognition, right? So for a long time, crypto or Bitcoin or anything else, the banks don't want to touch it. It's a no. It's always been flagged as money laundering or something not accepted. So when President Trump pushed 3 specific crypto bills that was passed last week, right? And I think the market was reacting to them being passed anyway, right? So that was a bit of push, and I think one of the kind of biggest recognition. So one of the biggest problem that crypto guys have, the guys in crypto have always had is an on-ramp and off-ramp. That means if I had fiat like ringgit or USD, like I want to buy some Bitcoin, it's not been easy, and a lot of crypto bros have actually been debanked. That means they get their bank account shut down and they like ask you to take all your money back, right? So this legal recognition is a big boost because one of them is actually for stablecoin issuance, right? It's called the Genius Act. And if they start to digitize or make the USD a lot more accessible globally, the idea is that if you have stable coin, right? That means a tokenized form of the US dollar. You would then go invest into cryptos, right? Because that's the main usage been so far, right?
Yeah.
But of course, I think the wider usage would be, trade settlement and things like that. So I think that was kind of a preemptive move. And today, right? Today is 22nd of July. We're seeing all the other alts, right? Alt season, they call it alt season. That means anything that's not Bitcoin is alt. It's making a pretty strong comeback.
They all signed a bubble already, and they've all been quite quiet for like quite a while.
It's been quiet since the last crash, since 2022. The last peak was 21. The bottom was probably 22. And up to now, before the alt season, only Bitcoin has gone up. But right, everything else has been quite flat.
Yeah. So it seems like Bitcoin is always the market leader in terms of movement.
Yeah.
And then the main coins like Ethereum and LTC and all that, they follow closely behind.
Yeah.
And then if the surge is big enough, then the altcoins and the meme coins and all that will also follow suit.
Yeah.
Is that a fair?
That seems to be the history so far.
Yeah.
Of course, one of the things that the crypto guys always track is Bitcoin dominance. So how much is Bitcoin's market cap of total market cap of all cryptos?
Has it been growing?
So I think before alt season, it was like 60-ish%. Now that alts have come back up, now it's about 50-ish%.
Oh wow, that's a huge difference.
Yeah. So considering the whole of crypto is about 3 trillion market cap, it sounds like a lot, but I guess when you compare to the equity market, traditional finance,
it's how many trillion?
well, Apple is already more than 3 trillion.
Right.
One company.
So the entire crypto space is valued at the same as.
It's still smaller than Apple.
Right.
One company.
Right.
Of course, large company.
Yeah. Didn't know that, but yeah, that's amazing.
But yeah, so it's relatively small in the scheme of things, lah. In the scheme of a global, financial asset. Yeah. Right. It's small, right?
And okay, so the difference with Bitcoin that I've seen this time around, I think we've talked about this off camera before, is that there's been a lot of bad news in the last 6 to 12 months, right, for the financial markets. And we've traditionally seen Bitcoin react in like that, in a way it goes down and then it comes back up. But this time around it was a little bit different because it seemed to have some resilience, and a lot of people compared it to gold. Even this article that we put up here compared it to gold. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems that as though like Bitcoin has 2 advantages now. One of which is explosive nature, as it went up like 10% within like a space of a week. And the second one is its resilience as well, which is to a lot of the bad news that's going around. It seems to have at least some level of safe havenness almost now that the US dollar used to have, but is lowering.
Yeah.
My perception.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate is that.
I think if we talk about Bitcoin only, it's always been referred to as digital gold. Yeah. And the objective was really to keep your purchasing power parity because of its limited supply. So, as we all know, Bitcoin limited to 21 million Bitcoin, right? But in a way, they use the gold analogy. You kind of understand it, right? But then the economics are actually very, very different. So in the case of gold,
you can still find more.
That's right. You can still find more. So it's a case of really supply and demand.
Yeah.
So when prices go up, places where it was never economical to mine gold now makes sense, right? So it still follows the demand and supply, even though supply is limited, but it's not capped limited, right? So when prices go high enough, you will see supply going up as well, and therefore prices coming down, right?
Isn't that the same with Bitcoin miners as well?
No, it's different because Bitcoin will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin ever, full stop. So even if the price goes up, you can't have 22 million Bitcoin, right? So and really what we've been seeing in the last 15 years is, Bitcoin is an adoption play, right? If everyone agrees and sees it, right, that is a store of value and helps you from debasement of currency, meaning, governments around the world create money, right? Like the US dollar, they just keep printing money out of thin air, it's nothing. So if you use it as protection of debasement of currency, especially because fiat currency is issued by governments, right? Bitcoin is software.
Basically, there's no finish line with regards to currency. There will always be more printed.
Correct.
With gold, there is a finish line, but you don't know where it is. You don't know how much gold the earth has, right?
Yeah, correct.
And with Bitcoin, you know exactly where the finish line is, which is 21 million Bitcoin, and it will stop there. And basically, the closer you get to that point, the better you are going to fare against all these things the way you don't know where the finish line is.
So that's why, because Bitcoin is not government owned or related, or it's a protocol that lives on the internet, right? So even if there are more miners that come on, what happens is that the difficulty rate gets more difficult, but the reward still remains the same. So it's only 3.125 Bitcoin for every 10-minute block that you get today, right? This is after the halving, right? And it gets half that again. So Bitcoin becomes more and more scarce, but there is a finishing line, like you said.
Okay. I think that's pretty clear as to whether you should buy Bitcoin or not. I think the answer is short term, who knows? Long term, probably the answer right now is
it is an adoption play.
It is an adoption play. So it's a very interesting asset to consider.
I mean, if you think about adoption play, before the dot-com bust 2000, we're 25 years now. Everyone has a mobile phone and shops online and, things like that. So it's taken 25 years, and Bitcoin is since 2009, so it's only 16 years old. We are 16 years old, right?
But I've always had a difference to this. Like we always have draw this parallel. But for Bitcoin, the difference for me is that aside from a store of value, it hasn't proven itself in any other purpose just yet.
Just like gold.
Which is, I mean, gold has, a few hundred or thousand years of history in terms of store of value. With regards to, let's say, things like AI or tech, you see it in your daily lives. So that's why, I mean, personally, for me at least, I feel like I can see the value in Bitcoin. I'm not entirely sure about all the other coins out there that have yet to prove themselves in that sense of creating value.
And I guess that's where, because it's an adoption play, so if more and more people, let's say, adopt Ethereum as a public blockchain and they use it more and more often, and it becomes the computer of the world, then that is a use case.
But it hasn't happened yet,
Actually, if you look at network growth, Ethereum has been growing. Network, I mean, number of users, right?
But to what purpose, though? We don't see it.
Well, I mean, people write smart contracts on it and they use it for whatever purpose it is, right?
Whatever purpose, what is that purpose?
So, for example, USDT, stablecoin, rides on Ethereum as a network. So
I know, but that's again a store of value as well. So, aside from a store of value, I'm not seeing any other.
But you need a blockchain to transact, right? So.
But that's again transferring value. So, I mean, the difference is, and this is a very long discussion, by the way.
Of course.
With AI, everyone's using it. Even my parents are starting to use AI to some extent.
Correct.
And they use it for practical reasons to generate content or whatever, right? And that happened in the space of 2 years.
I guess.
With Ethereum people have been developing smart contracts for what, 10 years, right?
2015. Yeah, about 10 years now. So
what real life case scenario is there besides transferring USDT or transferring Ethereum to somebody else?
People use it in different ways. Depends on your application.
Right, but on a day-to-day average person basis.
I think so far the killer app has been stablecoin.
Yeah.
That's the killer app lah. Yeah. Of all killer apps of that crypto has kind of created, stablecoin because it's the same as our Do It Now, PayNet, Swift system. The whole world cannot function without these systems.
Yeah.
So, do they hold value?
It's a store of value again.
Well, I mean that's the question, right? Does a Swift system have a value in the world?
Yeah.
You can't say no, right? Because it handled trillions of trades, so global people can trade, right, every day because they need to transfer money to each other, right?
The difference there is they trade to do stuff, to buy stuff and to sell stuff.
So it's a platform, right?
Yeah.
So it's a platform. So think of Ethereum also as a platform, right? As a highway. So a highway produces nothing, but it helps you go from A to B, right?
This is something that I think we'll always have discussions about.
Okay.
Cannot settle one, this one. Cannot settle one. Yeah, we'll see you in 3 months with regards to this, okay?
Well, I'll see him in 10 years, and then he'll be right. Yes,
I'll probably be wrong. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the CCB, the Consumer Credit Bill 2025. So I think to break that down for you guys out there, one of the main things with this Consumer Credit Bill is regulating BNPL, which is Buy Now Pay Later. So there's been an explosion in Buy Now Pay Later. I use it for a few platforms as well. And I think what it means is that a lot more people are living on credit, which I think the government saw fit to actually perhaps monitor a little bit more closely, right? So I think the summary was that basically there are 6 new types of businesses that come under this Consumer Credit Commission, which is a new statutory body. It's BNPL schemes, leasing and factoring, which now need licensing from the CCC. And there's also 3 other types of business that need registration, which is not licensing, it's not quite the same, which is debt collection, acquisition of non-performing loans and financing, and debt counseling management services, okay? Let's focus on the BNPL part of it. Like, how do you think this affects the BNPL market and by overall the consumer market?
Well, I think the why it was set up in the first place.
Okay.
Because somehow BNPL became so large.
Yeah.
And it's nowhere in law that it has to be regulated.
Yeah.
So hence we have this new bill called the Credit Bill 2025, right? I think the second thing that probably concerned Malaysian regulators was that 80 or 90% of the BNPL players are foreigners. They're not Malaysian companies.
I did not know that.
Yes,
Oh,
right.
wow.
So you can Google them, right? But large bulk of them are foreign companies that are essentially coming into Malaysia and lending to consumers without a license. And I think that's where the regulators, the concern is,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, even if they were Malaysians, it's still concerned because there's almost no oversight in this space, right? So that's why this was passed, and also Malaysia's lending and credit laws have been a bit weird, right? So we have Bank Negara, which issues banking licenses and oversight for lending and everything else. And then we also have the Housing Ministry that issues gives money lenders a license, money lending license.
Wait, housing industry?
Yeah.
We're not talking about home mortgages here.
No, Ministry of Home lah, KHPT.
No, I know, but we're not talking about like lending for home mortgages. We're talking about
no,
personal lending.
Personal credit, right?
Why does that go to the housing ministry?
I have no idea. I think it used to be. I think last time, many years ago. So this was the act, from probably 50 years ago.
Yep.
Was that last time communities or villages, they were quite tight, and everyone would kind of I think they call it tokong, right? They put money together every month, and then if someone needs to borrow it, then they'll take from this pool. So it's for emergencies only. So in a way, I think communities figure out a way how to do lending amongst themselves.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why it was under the Housing Ministry. But of course, the world has evolved, the landscape has evolved, right?
So money lenders come under the Housing Ministry?
Yes.
Is that why they paint your house red when you don't pay?
I don't know about that. So when you actually see those stickers that says licensed money lenders, they're really licensed. It's legit.
But they have no property or sell property or whatever, but they come under the housing ministry for some reason.
Yeah, they come under housing ministry. KHPT.
That's mind-boggling. And who else comes under housing ministry then?
I think for lending, these are the two main ones. So
BNPL?
BNPL will be under the new consumer credit. Nothing. It was not regulated at all. Zero.
Right.
So I know, well, under the money lending license, there are certain limits. So you can only lend maximum 18% per annum. So there are certain caps that they put up there. And yeah, so so I think this is kind of I believe pawn shops as well also fall under that. So pawn shops, you can pawn your
under the housing ministry.
Under the so you can pawn your product and then you can borrow it and then charge you interest, right? Yeah. So that's kind of it's very old school, but that's really how communities function back then, right? Before mega banks came to be.
So back to this, then what is the impact on all this coming under the Consumer Credit Commission? Like what kind of regulation do you think that they are trying to do over here?
I think they want to look at oversight because right now, if it's not regulated, there is no bird's eye view. You can't see anything. Right now, if you were to apply for a loan with a bank, the process is straightforward, right? They pull out your CTOS, they pull out your, Bank Negara has your credit report, right? So you know how much. So this is almost off balance sheet. So you might have a very clean record, but if you've got maybe $1 million in BNPL, I don't know, right? I can't see it, right?
And the thing is, like, so I think the fear here is default rates, right? Like people not being able to pay.
Yeah.
And because there's no regulation, we don't even know how much people have not paid or whatever.
We have no idea,
Because they're all with that information sitting with individual companies.
We don't even know the size of BNPL. I think you can only do estimates. Right? But it's enough. It's probably sizable enough for Parliament to pass a bill and for regulators to come in and kind of look at this. So this is definitely new.
Probably a good thing, right? I reckon.
Yes, it's a good thing if it's protects consumers and gives them more options. But licensing or regulation always has the opposite effect sometimes. So
in slowing the market down.
Yeah, innovation. Right. So pros and cons. They're not always pros, right? Like BNPL was created before laws were passed. Like the first car was invented before a driving license was invented, right? So laws always are
playing catch up.
They always have to play catch up because the market does what it does. It innovates. It finds new opportunities, right? So I guess when there is extreme or over extreme regulation, then the market becomes somewhat less innovative because it becomes less competitive. Because if it's so difficult to get a license, then you have other problems where then you have the black market and so on and so forth. So that's there's pros and cons to it. So I guess it's not an easy line to manage, especially with regulations.
So I guess we'll have to see what the Consumer Credit Commission actually does and what kind of regulation they put in place and whether or not it stimulates innovation to that extent.
Yeah, correct. Because if you need a license to do anything, there's always the administrative portion that slows things down. Popcorn is good if it's for the consumer protection, right?
But liquidity driven by loans is probably something that does need to be regulated,
well, because lending can get out of hand, and and consumers, as long as the average consumer, as long as someone's willing to lend you, then everyone
people are likely to take it.
It's quite hard to resist, right? It's like a drug, right? Almost.
And previously, we used to lend for houses and cars, and now we're lending for 35 ringgit Taobao toy that we found on Shopee or whatever. There's a limit to where it gets a little bit dangerous, I would say.
I guess probably one of the pioneers of buy now pay later in Malaysia would be Young Credit, right? They started it, where you can buy a TV for $1 a day kind of thing. $1 a day, or buy a kettle for $1. But that was physical. But right now things have gotten so much easier. You do it online. I think even on your ride-hailing app or whatever
Yes.
you can also buy
It's
now.
on everything already nowadays.
You can buy now, pay later, your lunch, right? Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, if we are kind of
A Big Mac for only 12 easy installments of 3 ringgit or whatever it is.
yeah. So
Jeez.
yeah, I think that's why there needs to be maybe
Some form of regulation.
some form of regulation without killing innovation.
Yeah.
I think that's where the fine line is.
So it's a wait and see.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. So that wraps up this episode of Borak Bursa Turbo. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.